And we are live, guys. Welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your podcast show. This is the show where we talk and have a conversation about cricket, etc. And usually we just have a normal chat about the game. Here's a teacher with me. Um, and so I got you at the perfect time drinking. How's it going, Aditya? How are you doing? Good to see you. Now you're on the other side again, in the usual room that I'm used to seeing you. How are you doing?
How is it, brother? I'm doing well. I'm not gonna lie, I started getting used to sitting beside you for these kinds of shows now. But yeah, it's three flights later, and I'm here in India.
Nice, nice. How does it feel to get back, though? How are you feeling? How does it feel to get back? I haven't spoken to you until you returned.
Yeah. We actually flew from Cape Town to Johannesburg, Johannesburg to Dubai, Dubai to Mumbai. So it was like a good sort of 20 hours of flying, and yeah, it's nice, I guess. We're all unpacked and back to the Mumbai routine again. So yeah, but either way, I guess cricket waits for no one. So we're happy to chat cricket again. It looks like Khalid is frozen, but yeah, I see Lorenzo and Dex are in the chat. I'm sorry, Lawrence and Dex are in the chat. Um, and I say we need to be aggressive. That doesn't mean smashing every ball to boundaries, but we need to take on the power play. That's where we lack. Catch up well in the middle overs and at the back. Yeah, in great comment there, Lawrence. Um, the power play has been a bit of a concern over the last while, and I know there is that chat about catching up, but I don't know if catching up is accurate there, because technically that period is gone. The power play is gone. You're never going to get those field restrictions again. So I think it's South Africa do need to take on the power play, and I think the only reason for that is that, among other things, the one department that South Africa probably lack is the fact that is that power hitting, right? We don't have too many players who can power hit, like the Johnny Bestos of the world, or the Hardik Pandyas of the world. And South Africa probably rely in that department. They probably rely a lot on David Miller. So I think that's too much pressure on one player if the rest of the batting order doesn't really play at the strike rate that's required of them. Uh, yeah, mindset and body language also need to be positive. Certainly, there's no question about it. Yeah, and I think that attitude is important in the field, right? It's important for South Africa to be as aggressive and really feel well. Take your catches. Effect runouts, direct hits, that sort of thing. That's important, definitely. And load shedding, Khalid. Yeah, I don't know what his load shedding schedule might be, but you might be right. I think since you're on at 7 o'clock, he's probably got a little bit of load shedding, I would imagine. I'd have to check the app for his schedule. Uh, Lorenzo says we need to have an attacking mindset. We can't carry on like this in limited overs cricket. I think we should go player specific in the different formats. That's how we'll succeed. Yeah, and again, I think that you're probably referring to the idea of depth, right? Because like England, for example, but they are able to have that many players, for the white ball and red ball. And in India's case, there is that demand now to have 50 players who are ready to play international cricket at any given time. South Africa need to go in that direction also. And I think if there's something that I don't know if South Africa have capitalized on very well, is that, I think they gave 37 players an opportunity in the 2020-21 season. Um, those players should be coming good now. That's certainly important for South African cricket in general. And I think we can say that, the Proteas cap should never be that easy to get. That's agree with that completely. But at the same time, um, that it is important to have that depth in cricket. Quinny needs to go ballistic in the power play, says Dex. Um, yes, he does. Quinny does. But I think if there's one thing I'm probably looking for with Quinny, it's also a certain degree of consistency. He needs to be doing what he does so well with his aggression, but he needs to do it more frequently and needs to put on like some pretty big scores. Um, Lorenzo asks, why do you think Quinny performs well in bilateral series but struggles in World Cups? Um, Good question. I think that just happens, right? I think pressure gets to players. Um, I, I don't know what his mindset is like. He doesn't seem to be the sort of individual who overcomplicates situations. But yeah, there it is, brother. Khalid is back.
What happened? My whole internet crashed completely. I don't know what happened. It was been dead. I had to reset the plug again and reconnect everything. So the show is starting now, guys. Here's the podcast show starting. um, how's it, Werner? Good to see you. I heard you also met Aditya on his trip to South Africa. What was that like? Hearing from you for the first time.
It was nice. It was nice to meet up. I'm glad we got the opportunity to do it. They didn't have the right pasta sauce at the place we went to eat, but other than that, everything went well. Apart from load shedding and stuff like that, but all good, all good. Glad to see you're safe, Aditya. Glad to see you're back on stream, Khalid.
Yeah, whoa, that was a hectic one. I don't even know what it is. There's no load shedding or anything. The internet just went dead. I don't know what happened. Yeah, so let's continue this. I don't know where Aditya was or what you were doing or what you were speaking about. Did you start on the topic yet?
So I was answering some of the questions
Okay,
that
awesome.
are that our mates in the chat panel were throwing at us, and I was on Lorenzo's question where he says, "Why do you think Quinton de Kock performs well in bilateral series but struggles in World Cups?" And my answer to that is that I think pressure gets to everyone in different ways, and although Quinny seems to be the sort of character that doesn't overcomplicate things, at least mentally, it is a hurdle that he probably needs to cross because um, he does need to sort of tailor his game to to the situation at times, and I'm often reminded of Herschel Gibbs in high pressure games because he always came to the party then. And I remember on one occasion, it was um, it was the IPL final in 2009, playing in Johannesburg at the Wanderers, and Mr. Adam Gilchrist is out in the first over, and they lose. The Deccan Chargers lose early wickets. Herschel Gibbs is the only guy there, and at the end of 10 overs, he's batting on 19 of 31. Now that's obviously not Herschel Gibbs' natural game, but he ends up scoring a match-winning 53, and that and if you look at the scorecard at the end, Deccan Chargers win by 6 runs. So, I think that tells you that adaptability is important. And sometimes you do have to curb those instincts in order to ensure that, you come through for your team. And I think that's probably something that Quinton will have to learn in time to come.
Yeah, because it's interesting to look at that, and Werner, your opinion would be great here as well on Quentin de Kock's issues with World Cups because it seemed to be okay when he was with Hashim Amla. He never really seemed to get bothered with certain challenges when he's with at the other side of the crease with Hashim Amla at the crease. It just seemed like they had an amazing partnership, and when that got broken, um, a lot changed for Quinny in a very short space of time, I would say. Because we were even talking about possibly Hashim Amla being his partner still in the 2019 World Cup. They were even considering playing him in that World Cup. So I also think it's about consistency with Cock. Giving him the understanding on who's his partner going to be, and giving him time to build that relationship with someone at the other end, so that he doesn't get pressurized or forced into playing a certain way, rather allowing it to unlock his true potential, of course. And I think not having that consistency at the top of the order also will make it difficult for someone, because I don't think any World Cup since 2015 have we been 100% comfortable with who's going to be opening up with the Cock. It's always been like a puzzle that, oh, who's going to be our top three? And we've never actually come to a conclusion and say, you know what, this is the guy that's going to be there. First it was Temba, then it wasn't. Then it was Yanaman, then it wasn't. Then it was Aiden, then it wasn't Aiden. Then it switches around too many times. And I feel that inconsistency of not giving him not giving him stability at the top of the order, and helping him understand that has given it a little bit of a, it makes it a little bit harder for you to be consistent in World Cups and suddenly just perform in that tournaments if you haven't built up momentum leading up. Now I know he has, like people have said, the bilateral series, etc., and all the series he does well, and then it comes to the big stage, and you have to be 100% on your A game. You can't afford to not be. And I think that pressure maybe just gets to Quinton Cock a little bit too much if there's no one senior at the other end, because then all the pressure's on him to perform. I think there's obviously less pressure in series leading up to it, lead up to a World Cup tournament where all the pressure and all eyes are on you. But what's your thoughts on that particular question?
Yeah, it is a tricky one. Yeah, Quinny generally has struggled in World Cups, and I can't pin it down to something specific.
Mm.
Maybe it changes his approach a bit. Maybe he's more free flowing during bilateral series than he is in World Cups, where he feels maybe a bit of the extra pressure, needs to take more responsibility, especially these days now that he is a senior pro in the side. He does need to take more responsibility, and we need him to perform in the World Cup. Even last year's T20 World Cup, in the matches he did play, he didn't really perform. Um, it is a good point about stability in an opening partner at the other end. I hope to see a more stable opening partnership. Let Yanaman open in ODIs with Quinny, and then in T20s they need to decide, are they going to stick with Temba as his opener? Then they need to stick with him for a long period of time and let them form that partnership, or look to somebody else. But it is good to form some partnerships at top. It just gives you a bit of confidence knowing what the other guy is going to bring to the table. You feel a lot more comfortable running between the wickets because you've learned each other's ways, what works, what doesn't work. So that is definitely an important aspect.
Mm. Yeah, and I mean, the pressure on Quinny is a lot more in a World Cup than anything else. Whenever he plays a World Cup, the major talking points always are around Quinny and if he's going to perform, which is something as a sports person you're going to have to deal with and learn how to deal with, because that type of pressure, any World Cup is going to have double the amount of pressure for South African cricketers, so for the South African cricket public as well. There's going to be double the pressure that you will get through any other bilateral series that you play, because the fact that we've never won one, the fact that we've choked so many times, the pressure is going to be tenfold. South Africa needs to find a mental way on how to deal with that. I thought that there was something different in the way Otis Gibson kind of said, that's baggage that we have with us and we'll take with us, and it's something that the baggage word was spoken about a lot before the 2019 World Cup. They kind of wanted to face that whole C word, choker word head on, and that was a method that team decided to do, and it backfired 100% because we didn't even get to an opportunity where we could choke. So we didn't even give us that that possibility. we played very bad cricket. Yes, we were unlucky with our bowlers, lost a lot of our bowlers before the World Cup, and there was a lot of pressure on our batters, of course, to perform. But let's hope that can change. I'm hoping that this 50 over World Cup is something that Quinton de Kock really comes. He comes to the stage fully revitalized and with a mission to prove everybody wrong and to prove everybody that he can perform in a World Cup. But how is he going to do that? And that's where the main question of the show comes into the conversation right now. Because should we be, as a South African cricket team right now going into this World Cup, there's one series till the till the T20 World Cup almost, like there's not much time until the T20 World Cup really. And then we've got the 2023 World Cup, which we're building towards. And then we've got the Test Championship, which we're currently still number one at the moment. We haven't fell down from that number one spot yet. So we were given that. They kind of handed that to us because thankfully other teams lose and then we get the number one spot. But we're going to have to decide what brand of cricket we're going to be playing. Now, I don't see too much changing with regards to South Africa in the Test arena. I think we're going to maintain the attitude, the mentality, the style that we're playing right now because it's working for South Africa currently. Whether they should change that or not is a debate for another show. But let's talk about white ball cricket over here because I think that is what the question is, probably where the question falls into the best, because at the moment, the white ball arena, we are very unaware of our identity. We have an identity crisis. This is exactly what we have. I should have actually made that the headline. Because I'm looking at the players that we have in the squad and the players we have available to us. Do we have the players? And Werner, maybe you can start first here. Do we have the players to play this ultra aggressive style of cricket? And Aditya, I want you to afterwards explain what that actually is.
Um, Not necessarily. I think Riley Rousseau would make a big difference in the T20 side. Just his approach. We'll see if he succeeds or not, but the way he approaches the game and the form he is currently in, I think it would make a big difference. Klaasen has been in good form, and Miller has been in good form, and those three might be the right guys to take that type of attacking brand. Quinny as well, when he's going well. He's a bit of a strange one, Quinny. He goes through this massive highs where he looks unstoppable and like you can't bowl to him, and then he goes to like a prolonged dip again, and they're like, what is happening with Quinny? Because it's like this guy is smoking India all over the place, and then the next series is like not contributing at all, and then you're thinking, why? He has all the talent in the world. It feels like a mindset thing. He needs to be really up for it to really get going, and we need to get him in the space where he's up for it for every series he plays, because now he's not playing tests anymore really. So that means he should be up for the other series. So hopefully he is. Hopefully he gets to a point where he's up for every series, every game, because he's good enough to really take the game away from the opponents. And we need some solid starts at the top, and he can provide that. And I feel like our middle order is kind of coming together. And I think if Riley Rousseau slots in there, especially if I'm thinking about the T20 format, if you have him and Markram, who's done well in T20s at least, though he's still struggling with ODIs, and you have an informed Klaas and an informed Miller, that is looking a lot better. So maybe we can have that type of attacking brand in T20s. In ODIs, I don't know if we figured out exactly how we want to approach it yet. It seems like they don't really know. They go slow at the top, which I still find frustrating, because we've now been playing limited overs cricket for so many years, and we watch all the other teams attacking the power plays, and then I'm watching a warm-up game and we're 39 for 1 after 10 overs. I'm like, what are we trying to achieve by not attacking the power play, and then like bowling up to the 40th over and then trying to hit big at the back 10? It feels like a very outdated type of mindset. So I don't think we need to be ultra aggressive. I just think we need to be a bit more positive. Look for boundaries more. Look to rotate, strike a lot better, because we soak up dot balls constantly, and that really makes a big dent in your overall score. So maybe just a better, different approach. I don't think we need to be England. I don't think we need to go all blazing from ball one all the way through to ball 50. Oh, well, over 50. We also don't bat as deep as they do. We don't have
Mm.
the six hitting abilities necessarily, that of guys that just come in and strike it big immediately. Not everybody is like Liam Livingston, who can come in and hit his first two balls for six. Not a lot of teams have that necessarily, and I don't think we have that. I don't think we have good ball strikers, but most of them take a few deliveries,
Yeah.
couple of overs to get themselves going, and then play within that. But then make sure that those guys get enough time in the middle. Make sure that Miller isn't coming in at six. It's still something that frustrates me constantly. And I would say, even with Klaassen in the form that he is in, I'd still have Miller batting ahead of him. So, yeah.
Mm. So yeah, so Aditya, what's your take on it? I mean, it's it's all good to see a team try and be more aggressive and improve that. And I think England had a base to work with before they went ultra aggressive. They kind of planned this for a very long time. I remember when I just started as a journal. They kind of set a plan and they said, you know what, the next 3 4 years we want to build towards playing a certain brand of cricket, and they grew slowly towards that. They didn't just turn around and then implement it and then there it was working. They took some time to build that and to get to that level because they hadn't won the World Cup in so like it was that 2019 World Cup was so important to them. To while they hadn't won any World Cup, so like for them it was big for them to win in their own country, and they took some time, like 4 years. I think it was about 3 to 4 years to build a team that could do that. So your thoughts on that, and if South Africa do and should, how do they manage to do so? How do they manage to become ultra aggressive?
They have South Africa needs to make optimal use of its strengths. So if that means that you don't play like England's ultra aggressive brand of cricket, that's fine. But you need to find a winning formula with the resources that you have. What's happened is that a lot of, I guess, a lot of teams have
It's not me this time. Oh.
I think a lot of teams have sort of gone on that England bandwagon, I think this is the way forward, this is the future. But I don't think that's necessarily true, because every team has its own sort of DNA. You have your own strengths and weaknesses. So if you have one or two power hitters in a batting lineup of seven, then you have to play accordingly. You can't expect the players who aren't naturally suited to that ultra aggressive style of cricket to go in that direction, right? And I think that's something where Virat Kohli is going wrong as well. Because it's not Virat Kohli's game to start smacking it from ball one. He's the sort of guy who likes to rotate strike for a while, pick the odd boundary, and then he can attack. But where I think he is going wrong is that he's trying to go ultra aggressive too early,
Mm.
and that's one of the many reasons why we're not seeing the big scores from him. So I think it's pretty much the same with South Africa, right? Like, if you start expecting Temba Bavuma to score at 170 strike rate, that's not going to happen. That's not his game. So you have to make sure that you cater to the strengths of the individual, and then try to get the best out of him. But that's I think there is a bit of confusion there in my view with respect to South Africa. Like, you can't expect David Miller to play like Temba Bavuma. You can't expect Temba Bavuma to play like David Miller. Mark Boucher's job, and I guess the entire coaching unit's job, is to get the best out of Temba and to get the best out of David, and make sure that in both cases they're able to help the team.
I mean, we do have these players within our setup that domestically have that mentality. I know that a lot of the Eastern's guys come with that mentality from when Das Neves was the coach. Dusty was there for quite some time, and he put something like that in place. He wanted to play that mentality, and a lot of his players, like Wesley Marshall, is a good example. They play with that mentality now. They have that within them. I know that Corbin Bosch, his time in Australia really helped him with that mentality. Him going there, he said that the way they approach the game with the bat is completely different in all formats with the same mentality. We know that Ryan Rickerton plays naturally a very attacking brand of cricket. He doesn't take too long to really settle in and find his rhythm. I know that John O'Bird is similar as well in the junior divisions now. Coming through after he was the World Cup, he was in the World Cup under 19 team, and now coming through now, playing for Western Province, trying to find his rhythm. He's been rattled with injuries, but he plays with that mentality. You got the likes of Daniel Smith as well, who showed signs of it, especially on his debut and leading into his couple of first matches. He showed signs of that, of playing that aggressive style. But he's also learned that in 4-day cricket, it's not always the case that you can do so. There are plenty of others that I can probably mention that have that mentality, and we need to find a way on how to bring those players through naturally as well. We've gone now to go fetch Riley Rousseau, basically. I know he's back in domestic cricket, but no, and I don't think a lot of people thought that he would be the person that they would give him an opportunity. Actually, we've been calling for it, and I think Victor shocked us all actually when he selected him, and he's not gotten any praise for doing so and being brave enough to do so, no matter how obvious it looked. Because Faf was very obvious for the previous World Cup, and they decided not to go with him. So was Imran Tahir. So was Chris Morris to some people too. And we decided not to go for those guys, the free agents, as you may say. But they've gone for Riley Rousseau this time around. They've seen the importance of upping that strike rate from the top of the order. It's a massive statement, I feel, because if he has a good series against England, we're going to have to it's going to answer a lot of our questions. Because if he is the person that takes pressure off Quinton de Kock, and Quinny suddenly is freed and can go gun ho, and they're scoring 100 runs off the first 4 or 5 overs, I mean, we're going to be talking a different game here, about us and our approach, because I think it frees up everybody. It frees up when you can bring in David Miller, Aiden Markram. It changes Rassie van der Dissen's role in the team. Heinrich Klaassen maybe plays with a little bit more freedom if you can play an aggressive style from the top. So, yeah, I think I've always said for South Africa, it shouldn't be all out one way or the other. I kind of want to see an adaptable approach, because there are certain grounds where you can play this ultra aggressive style of cricket, and then there's some grounds that make it a little bit difficult for you to implement that style. And you can still put on a very good total and exceed the highest run scores on that ground, or the average runs on that ground, and you can find other ways to do so too. There's not only an ultra aggressive approach, and I know England has made it seen that that's the only way to win. But then, if that is the only way to win, then that means that England should win everything for the next couple of years. Then, because they're the only guys that play it 100% to the T like that. I've seen flashes of it in Australia from the Australian team. I've seen flashes of it in the India team. But England's the only one that really, really, really plays that 100% aggressive brand of cricket, full out from start to finish. Pakistan take their time with their openers. If you look at their strike rates, you'll see that too. They're very talented T20 side as well. Sri Lanka is a dice rolling. It's like rolling a dice. You never know what's going to happen. Bangladesh is playing a lot more aggressive actually with their approach and their mentality. A lot more actually. They actually play for quite a nice brand of white ball cricket. So there's a lot of blends of many things within the game. Australia has a opening partnership where they try to do that too, but Aaron Finch hasn't necessarily come to the party in that World Cup. And it's basically been David Warner and a couple of Stoinis has saved them quite a few times. You got your Glenn Maxwell's, etc. That you can say have the ability to also knock the ball far as well. So they've picked players that have that natural approach too. But I like the approach and I like the mentality. It's just that I don't think it works to force it on players. That's the thing. So if they've picked a squad with Rassi van der Dussen and Riza Hendricks and all of these players in the team, you can't now force them to play a style that doesn't suit them. You need to pick a style that suits the players that you have available to you. Unfortunately, that's just the case that you have. You're not going to be able to just change their mindset overnight. Things happen. So that's why I put so much emphasis on having the right replacements, because then you don't have to change much when you have someone out. If Quinny was injured, etc. And I'm hoping when you're talking about Quinny, because he's the benchmark for everything, like kind of gives us the head start that we need. I think in Australia now coming around the corner, at least there's no COVID. The COVID restrictions have dropped. He can actually go out and do the wildlife things that he loves to do, because Australia's full of it. He'll be in heaven. So I think his mental space will be a lot more relaxed. I think his mental space will be a lot more clearer, and I think he'll feel a lot more comfortable and more satisfied being in Australia now, in nature, open-minded. I know I'm being a little bit optimistic here and hoping that these outside things make a difference, but I think it will. We'll see a drastic change between the last World Cup and this World Cup with Quinny specifically, because I think being able to do that on tour is very important for Quinny and for the lads, the other guys, also to go out and go play some golf to get their stress relief. And they're not stuck between four walls, and just playing and just being stuck there. South Africans are very, very used to being out there, out in nature, doing things. I mean, you can see Aditya was here. He knows all about it, there's lots of things that you want to do outside and outdoors. You don't necessarily want to be indoors all the time unless it's storming. So yeah, I would love South Africa to play a more adaptable cricket approach that can either go aggressive or can either go conservative. I would like to lean more to the more aggressive side, more times than actually the conservative side. But I think those points that Werner made were brilliant. The running between the wickets is also a very important thing that we've been speaking about Aditya for so many months on this channel, because it's also a way of putting pressure on the opposition and not allowing a bowler to settle. So, yeah, I mean, I would like to see those improvements in South Africa's team. Let's see what happens with the England tour now, because it's around the corner, the first game. We had Lungi Ngidi's press conference that is ready for uploading now. It was ready for upload. I was gonna do a watch along with you guys live on the show tonight until the whole internet crashed, and then so I've had to move on from that. So I'm uploading it to the channel. It is uploaded to the channel, I think now. You guys should get a notification if you've hit the bell. So yeah, it is up on the channel. So it's a long one for a change, a nice long press conference from Lungi for a change. We don't normally get these long presses. But let's talk about the ultra-attacking approach from us. I know that we spoke on majority of from the batting perspective. Can we talk about the bowling perspective? Because I feel that our bowlers set the tone for us currently. Talking about Lungi Ngidi. Okay, cool. Aditya needs to go. Thanks a lot for coming on the show, bro. I'll see you soon on the daily shows again and all of those things. Werner, do you want to say anything about the bowling aspect first? Oh, he's gone. Werner, do you want to say anything about the bowling aspect? How we can set the standard, how we can show that ultra-aggressive approach with the bowling. Do you see that? Do you associate that with bowling at all when you talk about ultra-aggressive approaches and mentality?
Yeah, you can be ultra aggressive. I guess generally when you talk about aggressive bowling, then you're thinking about bounces and stuff like that, which is also important. And I think you need to have a good surprise bouncer. But I do feel like it goes hand in hand. Attacking bowling goes with attacking field sets, right? So I'd love to see us in early eyes start off more attacking, because though that power play can be very good for batting, and they do look to attack the power play, when you get early wickets, it sets a team back in a big way. We've seen in this series between India and England, where India has basically gotten 2 or 3 wickets early on in almost every match, how big of a difference that makes against England. You don't see them scoring over 400 now. They're not even getting to 300 because India are setting them back early. So that does make a big difference. So I'd love to see us putting in 2, 3 slips early on, try and attack them as much as we can, try and go for the wickets. If we then go for 70 runs in the power play, so be it. I'd rather take that than just trying to bowl regularly with regular field settings and still going for 60 odd in the power play. So I'd rather see us going for, with that type of attacking brand, almost like Brendan McCullum did in the 2015 World Cup. He continued to set like 2 or 3 slips, left the gap open at cover, almost like it was a test match, and asked the bowlers to pitch it up, make them drive the ball, let them go for it, and then maybe pick up a few early wickets. And you saw how well that worked for them. It might not work on every pitch. It might be flat pitches, but still, you can at least try something different. I don't want to see them just going through the motions.
Yeah.
So that definitely is important. I'm hoping that Anas gets his rhythm right. He's still a bit struggling since his injury. He's been a
Particularly
bit
his line and
wayward.
lengths.
Yeah, he's been very wayward. Even in the warm ups. So hopefully he can sort that out. He did say that he's not still not quite 100%. So that's a bit concerning. We'll see if he plays the whole series or not. But hopefully Lungi has looked good. He's looking as fit as he ever has, and he's got his rhythm nice. So hopefully he goes well as well. So those two are going to be very important.
Yeah.
If Andrich struggles, then I'd bring in Janssen, bring in the lefty, and bring something different, bit of extra height. We've seen Topley do very well against India left armor. So that might be an option that they can look to, even if maybe they decide not to go with 2 spinners. Maharaj obviously is the captain, so that would mean to leave out Shamsi, which is not ideal. You want an attacking spinner. Attacking spinners are important to get wickets through the middle overs because with a lineup like England, you won't hold them down for very long unless you take wickets. So if we are just looking to keep the economy rate down, it's not going to work against them. So taking wickets is going to be the most important. So it'll probably be Lungi and Anas, and then Shamsi and Maharaj, and then probably Andile. I expect it'll probably be Andile, the other bowler, the fifth bowler, and he has a lot to do. He's improved a lot in his batting, and
It has a lot to
I've
do with the
enjoyed.
ball. He has
Yeah,
a lot to do with the ball.
I've enjoyed his like evolution with the batting in the last season. He's done very well domestically for the Dolphins, and you could see he took that confidence in for SAA, and now in the warm up games he's looked good as well. But his bowling is still not up to scratch. He's still very wayward, and he's been like the go-to guy when people want to attack us. They've really took aim at Andile. So
Yeah.
it's important that he really figures things out. I think with the fact that we only have those 5, that probably means that Aiden will play. I don't, it is still a bit of a tough one with Aiden as well because he still hasn't figured out his ODI game.
Yeah.
Even in the warm ups, you can see it looks good for a 30 gets out. That's basically that sums up
This
his ODI
career.
career so far. It's been a real struggle, and it's like he just doesn't know what tempo to go out. He just hasn't figured it out, which is frustrating because you can see him at the Titans in List A cricket, how he dominates.
Yeah.
I think he probably still has more hundreds than fifties in List A cricket for the Titans. So he needs to bring that on board now because he's played plenty now. So there really isn't any excuse. I think that literally the only reason why he probably still is in the side is for that sixth bowling option. And I'd 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 say if he doesn't come to the party in this series, I'd look elsewhere. I'd get somebody
Yeah.
else who can give you a sixth bowling option. Maybe play Vian Leber, get him in at 6 or something, because that would mean okay that Miller can bat up higher and Klaus can bat up higher. Because now we have Rassi at 3, and this is with Demba not playing. Remember, because if
Mm.
Demba is playing, you will bat at 3 with Yanaman opening. That
Yeah.
would mean Rassi 4, and then
Mm.
Miller and Klaasen, and then like
And then you
you
don't
want
have
to
that
fit
extra
Markham in
bowler.
there as well. And if you don't, then you don't have a 6 bowling option. So it's a bit tricky our lineup because our top 5, top 6 don't really bowl, and that makes things hard for the balance of the
Mm.
side. So this is a very crucial series for Markram. I think it is now or never. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. And you know when you spoke specifically about Andile over there and the batting, what I've seen him add to his bat is calmness, patience. That's what I'm seeing. He's not coming out and swinging aimlessly like he used to. He sometimes used to just play baseball. He never used to really take his time at the crease, and I saw a change in that for the Dolphins in his approach. I'm really taking his time at the crease, being patient, and not trying to smack every single or reverse sweep every single ball, because he will have a naturally a very good reverse swinging a reverse paddle because of his hockey days. So it really helps that he has that in his arsenal. It's just about his when to pick which shot to play. But also his approach has now changed a little bit. He's a lot more calm. And I think that calmness is something that needs to add into his bowling again. It's not all about variations all the time. I think he needs to stick to a line and length specifically. He needs to talk to Dwayne, I think, as well, and get some understanding over there for the both of them, because I feel that they both need to take a similar approach. I think they need to find a stock delivery that they can stick to, and then add a couple of variations to really put the and they get the wicket. It's a bonus. I think their main job for me is not to take wickets; it's to maintain the run rate, to make sure that the run rate is lower or drops, to make sure that they can drown out the opposition. And concede as least amount of runs as possible. But I feel like they are bowling to take wickets, and bowling at 128, bowling at 130, you lose your line and length, and you're not bowling, and you become too predictable. It's easy to pick you out and score boundaries off you, and that's what's happening. So I think that stock delivery they need to find, and then add that variations to it to make them a lot better bowlers, of course, and particularly Landila I'm talking about over here, because he used to have that patience before with his bowling, and now it's almost completely reversed. So I want to see him add that to his game. Let me get into the comments a little bit and chat to you, some of you guys. Lawrence starts off first. Just a question off the topic for you guys. Why haven't Faf and Imran not retired from the white ball format for SA? That the that they still feel there's a chance for them to get back in? It's so strange. It is a bit strange. I think they do still have probably a little bit of a hope that in T20 cricket perhaps they could possibly be called upon. But I think they just haven't maybe done anything. I don't know what the reason is, to be honest. I'm just going to be thumb sucking over here if I give you a reason. It's probably because they haven't been in contact. The CSA haven't really contacted them, or maybe they've not been in contact with them. Perhaps that could be a reason, and they just never got to it. Or maybe they do still hold hope that they could still play for South Africa. I don't know. Werner, do you have an answer for this? Because I don't.
I don't have an answer, but maybe they're hoping somewhere along the line in the next couple of years the policy changes and they're not like you have to
Yeah.
play for a domestic team to get into the side, and they say okay, no, let's say they take a West Indies approach. These guys are performing for their franchises, doing very well in T20 cricket. They're the best in their position, so we're gonna pick them, type of thing. They're better than the guys we currently have, so let's pick them. Which would probably be the right approach in my opinion. Because yeah, I don't know if coming back to play a domestic side for a season is then the right criteria to then pick a player. I don't I don't know. It's worked out for Riley because he obviously is now played for the Knights, and he said that he wants to play more for the Knights this coming season, though he doesn't have a confirmed contract just yet. It's worked out for him. But I can't see Faf doing that. I can't see Imran doing that. They're also a lot older than Riley is. So they'll probably continue to make as much money as they can from T20 tournaments. I think they're probably consigned to their fates at this stage. They haven't retired yet, so maybe they're holding out a little bit of hope that those policies do change. But it doesn't look like it.
So Lorenzo says, let's be fair, in Australia, we're not playing two spinners. So should we feel the need to play two spinners now? Very strange. A good point made there, because I've said that many a times that we should gain momentum by playing the players in the right positions leading up to tournaments to make sure that there's a synergy, whether there's two spinners or not two spinners. I think they need to decide in series, particularly right on the doorstep of a World Cup. I think it's very important that you build momentum going into it, and go with this type of strategy that suits it, because yeah. Yes, Werner.
No, I'm thinking that we probably won't pick two spinners in the T20 series this time because we've made, I
Yeah,
believe, the right call by not making Maharaj captain of the T20 side as well, because that kind of forced our hand every time. Because Shamsi is our best spinner, but we have to play Keshav because he's the captain. And I don't think that Keshav has contributed that much in the T20 setup necessarily. He's been pretty tidy. He's picked up a wicket here or there, but he's also gone for a lot of runs in some of the games. And it doesn't make sense to go in with two spinners all the time necessarily. So I do think in the lead up to the World Cup, they made the right call, making Miller the captain or somebody other than Keshav the
yeah.
captain, because that probably opens up a better opportunity to just go in with Shamsi and go in with two all rounders and two paces maybe.
Yes, I agree
So
with that.
and that feels more balanced.
Much more. I like that for Australia specifically, and they need to do that for England. I mean, England's conditions. It might not be the same as Australia, of course, but it's still more seamer friendly. I'm hoping that England are also going to prepare wickets that are going to give them some prep for the World Cup as well. I hope they're not going to look at this particular thing and say, you know what, let's maybe create a type of pitch that's going to maybe help us beat South Africa rather than prepare our own team. Or maybe they just go, we're ready for the World Cup already. We want to beat South Africa. Let's just create conditions that are going to make it tough for them. Currently, I think you can make any conditions and it will be tough for South Africa. We need to find a way that suits. Have to find a style of play that suits us no matter what the conditions are. And personnel obviously changes that a lot at the moment. When we drop players, you put a new player in, you change the style of play. It kind of has been a thing that has haunted us, because we don't have those backups of aggressive players. If Ryder Rousseau gets injured, you don't have a replacement for him to come in and open the batting at the same strike rate that he does. There's a myth around Yanaman Malan with regards to his approach as an opener in white ball cricket. There's this myth that he goes out there and smacks the ball from ball one. He takes some time to get his eye in. He's a type of player that I feel bats deep rather than bats quick. In my opinion, I don't think we're going to see a lot of hundreds or 50 deliveries from Yanaman Malan, or a lot of 50s or 25 deliveries from Yanaman. We might see that a lot from Quinny, but I don't think so much from Yanaman. So Riley, I think we could. And I think Riley should open. I honestly think he should open with Quinton de Kock. That's my choice for the T20 World Cup. Um, and it's going to make it very difficult if our captain gets cured and he's ready again before
Gets
that
cured
gets cured, yes,
um,
from his injury
miraculously.
miraculously before his injury. He's still no longer the captain for T20 currently as it sits now. David Miller
Only
currently he's
because
still
he's injured.
captain. Yeah, only because he's captain. Currently he's not because he's injured and David Miller is the captain. But I think if he's fit again, they're probably he's still going to be captain. He's going to probably be selected. We're going to need to prepare ourselves for that, guys, as fans. That might just happen. Um, it's going to be crazy that it happens because you brought back Riley Rousseau, and you don't bring back Riley Rousseau if you think he's not going to perform. You bring back Riley Rousseau because you want to see him perform, and he most likely will perform. And that means if he does, he needs to be selected. I don't want to see this nonsense. If he does perform and they don't select him, then I'm going to get irritated because I'm like, then why the hell bring him back in the first place? It's just like a waste of time for everybody. So yeah, let's just wrap it up. Vern. What's your final words about this topic? If there's any comment maybe that you saw that you want to read out or answer, then let me know as well.
Yeah, I agree. Riley Rousseau needs to play. He's the uniform, one of the uniform batters around the world. Even if it is franchise cricket, it might not be international level, but we've seen him perform at international level previously, and I feel he is a better player now than he was then. So I do back him to perform and to seal a spot in that T20 World Cup. Hopefully, we'll see how he goes. And we don't have a lot of T20s really leading up to the World Cup from here on. It's these three against England and two against Ireland that sort of worked in between before the Test series, and then we'll see if they do organize another series before the World Cup. Hopefully, they do get a few more games in. But yeah, so in terms of the topic, ultra aggressive approach, I think only in T20s really. In ODIs, you
Yeah.
can still build an innings. You still need to look to
Mm.
attack the power play, but you have time to build an innings and then and lay a good platform. But in T20s, there isn't a lot of time, and I'd rather see them go out swinging. I'd rather them be all out for 120 and 10 overs than them
Yeah.
crawling up to 150 and 20 type of thing. Because more often than not, because T20 is also short, if you have seven batters, there's a good chance that three of them will come off. Um, almost half of them will probably come off if they go hard at it. Maybe not. It doesn't always happen. Sometimes you get bowled out early, then so what? But I'd rather see them going for it and then failing than just try and working their way up to a score that they might be able to defend because we have good bowlers type of thing. We need to set the approach from the top and take it throughout and play Miller higher up, please. Um, I don't like this thing of him back coming in lower. We see how good he is when he gets a lot of time. Like whenever we lose a bunch of wickets early, and he comes in and he has like plenty of overs, then we see him bold an innings and launch at the end, and he's like 80 or 45 deliveries, and we're
Mm.
praising him. And then, but we keep him down there. Or we see him at Gujarat Titans batting at 4 and almost winning him the whole tournament. I mean, he was fantastic throughout, and he talked about how much he enjoys it, batting higher. So I would just love to
Yeah.
see that. So
I
yeah,
was talking about it too. I agree with you. I mean, I would even, I mean, it's possible to even bet Aiden at 5 if you want to keep him in the team as well, or 5 or 6. I mean, I don't wouldn't mind that either. You know, if you want to have that extra bowling option batter in the team, let him be flexy. You know, but I mean, 4 is it's a really nice spot for David. The 4, 4, 5 maximum. I agree with you there, Werner, because I think it will change South Africa's just approach from the get go. But guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We will be back with a preview show tomorrow. I'm hoping Werner's going to be available for that. I never spoke to him about it yet.
we'll see if I can make it. I'm gonna try. This is going to be a hectic week for me, but I'll try and
Yeah,
be here tomorrow.
yeah. We're gonna do a preview show for the game tomorrow. Hopefully, you guys get involved. Hopefully, we will have a special guest involved as well. Um, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. First game on Tuesday. Kind of excited, also kind of nervous at the same time. Don't know what to expect. So
You
let's
know,
wait and see.
it, just before we wrap up, you know what does frustrate me is all these games that the other teams always play ahead of us. And it's like we go into it. At least we finally have some warm up, so that's at least a good thing. But like England is
Yeah.
coming into this after they had a test series against New Zealand, then the one off test against India, then T20s against India, then a whole ODI series. They played an ODI series up till today, and
Hmm.
then they're playing on Tuesday again. So going into it, they're like ready for the ODI series, even though they didn't perform that well against India. They now know what they did wrong, what type of approach they need to take, and we're going in like, okay, well, when last did we play an ODI series? Probably against Bangladesh that we lost in March. So yeah, but
Yeah.
let's see how it goes.
Yeah, and we start off against England with we start off with England in the hardest format for ourselves as well. So let's. I hope this doesn't just dent everybody's confidence going into the rest of the store. Into the T20s, etc. Because I mean, it's crazy that we play so much games on
You
top
know,
of each. So many World Cups on top of each other. It's
you
crazy.
know what would be worse if we win this series 3-0 and it doesn't count towards the Super League points.
Yeah,
Because we did that against India, right? We beat them 3-0 and it didn't count for anything.
it didn't count
Imagine
for
we do it
everything.
again.
We might do it again, exactly. But guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Michael, you can always give super chats in. There's never a show that you can't. You're always allowed to give super chats whenever you want to, and it forces us to answer your questions. Sometimes we don't get to all the questions in the comment section. If you want us to see your questions, you just throw in a super chat and we're forced to see it. So you are welcome to do it on any single show that we have available. But we will do the preview show tomorrow, guys. Of course, same time, same place on Cricket Fanatics Magazine. If you are new to this channel, please click subscribe and click that notification bell for future videos as well. And also smash that like button, comment, and share. Also become a patron today if you want to help us help South African cricket grow and also help us promote South African cricket, you can get involved with the Patron account. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. And the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics Magazine is also available. We are working on the next issue at the moment. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. Please go ahead and get that too. Thanks a lot, Werner, for coming on the show. Go to cricketfanaticsmag.com as well for all updates. And we'll see you guys again very soon. Take care, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your evening. And enjoy the rest of your week as well. I hope you have an excellent week and that it's not too hard and too difficult for you guys. Take care. Peace. We'll see you tomorrow.